in-person meeting for Thursday, November 5th, 2020 to order. We're going to start off with a roll call, then we're going to be doing introductions because we have some new members. So Greg, if you can do roll call, please.
Randy Daigle.
Here.
Greg Stritch, present. Amy Dennis.
Here.
Caitlin Dunn.
Here.
Pat Calvin.
Here.
Todd Kinnan.
Here.
Jeff Margolfo.
Here.
Michael Montefort.
Here.
Jeff Oken. Here. Christine DeBoni.
Here.
She's here.
Andrew LaPlante. Andrew LaPlante. Andrew Barrios. Gina Sakala.
Here.
Joe Mueller. Walter Frizzell.
Here.
Stacy Thurston.
Here.
Jeff Lenowitz.
Here.
Chris Cycling. Not here. Samantha D'Agostino.
Here.
Bruce Kellogg.
Present.
Joe Lexi. Joe, you here?
Yeah.
Yes,
she's there.
I see her. Emily, you're here. I see you.
Yes. Here.
Amar.
Yeah.
Marcus Brennan.
Here.
Nate Giarella. Anybody I missed? Okay, roll call is complete. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we add to the agenda item number 1A, introduction of new committee members.
Any questions? Show of hands, all in favor. Anybody against? Anybody abstain? Go ahead, sir.
I'll let you do it. You're the chair.
All right, well, you got names in front of you. Go ahead.
We have 3 new committee members now. Tom Kinnan, who is here in the conference room, is a full-time member. Christine DeBoni is a alternate. She's virtual, I guess. And Andrew LaPlante, he's virtual also. He is also an alternate member.
So welcome aboard. I did do a walkthrough with Gilbane and each of the new members this week. Showed them around the site, showed them the drawings, the presentations. It's going to take a while for them to get up to speed, but we didn't scare them away yet, so that's a good thing. So we're glad to have you guys aboard, and thank you very much for volunteering your time. Did everybody get a chance to review the regular meeting minutes dated October 1st, 2020? And if so, are there any comments or corrections?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of October 1st, 2020 as issued.
Second.
We have a second. Any comments? Show of hands, all in favor. Anybody against? Anybody abstain? Thank you very much. We have a couple guests this evening, but it's with each of our teams. So we'll move right on to the architect's report. Tonight we have Bruce and we have Emily
Jill.
and Jill here this evening. So you guys want to start yours?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will start it, and then Emily and Jill can infill the 2 other pieces. The committee may recall that we were preparing the last piece of information that had to go to the state for their approval, which was technology equipment. We have we have prepared that document with GTC, who is our technology equipment consultant. They also did the technology infrastructure in the facility. We've had a couple of review sessions with Barbara over at OSCG. And so I have not seen the official letter. Barbara did send an email this morning saying that she asked Angela, who's the secretary receptionist, to prepare an approval letter and get it sent to us. So I think that's the good news. Unless, Chris, unless you've seen it in the last few hours and we weren't copied on it. We have not seen the letter, but obviously we have an email that she did request the letter be prepared.
We did
Yeah.
get a letter, Bruce. You weren't copied on it. I'm forwarding it to you now.
See how quick they take me out of the loop.
It's the important people.
Yes.
We're trying.
So there's two other pieces from the design team standpoint we want to present to you. Emily has a piece on clear story lighting in the corridors, and then Jill, and perhaps I'll let Jill talk first about, from our perspective, construction update from the design side.
Yeah, so I am continuing to work on answering questions and reviewing the shop drawings and product data for the items that are being installed at the school. I'm also now working out of the Gilbane trailer every Thursday so that I'm on site, and it's been easier to work with the Gilbane team in terms of getting questions answered, looking at things, and that sort of thing.
Anybody have any questions for Jill? Emily, are you doing, I know you're gonna be doing a presentation with the panels, the glass between the quarters and walls. Are you also doing the, I'm gonna wait on that presentation until we do the ATPs, and then we could have them run together with that specific ATP. Are you doing the tech, the IT? Is there an IT presentation tonight? Or is it just the trailer?
There is not Randy, the IT is pretty much the same as what it was, I think, when we presented a few weeks ago to this group. So we're good with that. We can follow up with the building committee once the IT is formally, when they get the prices solicited and we get the packages together and get delivery dates finalized for the IT equipment.
When is it, hasn't officially gone out to bid though, right?
No, we were waiting for this. We needed the state approval.
Right. So
Correct. We're gonna start that process now with purchasing.
Okay. So did the cost, the estimated cost, did that change at all, or is it within that realm of what we initially thought? Or you guys presented, I should say.
And still, that has not changed.
Okay. Okay, then yeah, there's not a need to do that presentation. Okay. When is it gonna, do you have an idea, like a target date when it's gonna go out for advertisement?
Hopefully by the middle of next week.
Okay. And how long are we giving it?
10 days.
All right, very good. Okay. Anything else want to be added to the architect's report other than what Emily's going to do when we do the ATPs? Anything for JCJ?
Questions, comments, anybody?
Okay.
All,
Well,
all good.
I know, Jill, you being here is making a difference, so I want to thank you for being on the site and not just come when
Yeah, absolutely.
something's needed. So being proactive, I appreciate it. This committee does too. CMR report, you can go ahead and mark it.
Do you want, Randy, do you want me to go now, or do you want me to wait?
No, when we do the ATPs.
Oh, okay.
This way, they'll know what we're talking about. I don't want to give a presentation of something that we're not voted on just yet.
Got it.
Okay, just take another 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes to get to that. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's the seals. So this is Marcus with Gilbane. Everybody should be able to see the PowerPoint now. So just a reminder, this is the same slide you've been seeing, site logistically on the left, where we still stand, and building logistically on the right. Obviously, all the highlighted areas are where we are. And I'll walk through each of those. For the new, So for the new members, when I refer to area B or black wing, it's going to be this area of the building. Area C or the yellow wing, it'll be up here, and then area F or the blue wing will be here. So area B/C, which is a little bit of both of those areas, is the new addition that fits between the old gymnasium and the old black wing. What you see in front of you is the first pieces of steel going up. This is the new auditorium entrance, so there'll be a full glass wall across here eventually. And that steel, obviously, you can still see the sun through it at the moment, so that it's getting decked over the next week and a half. The tall CMU area is the auditorium proper. As you can see, we're substantially stood or standing with that CMU. We have, as I go to the next picture, actually, is a good one of the auditorium itself. So I'm standing inside in the corner of the auditorium. This is your proscenium. This will be your stage area here. This is the proscenium beam that will go over the top of the stage opening. And you can see here we're filling in this piece now, which we had left out for access to inside. We poured that footing yesterday when I took this picture, and that wall getting formed, and will be poured tomorrow. And then the balance of the CMU wall is built, and then there's a steel structure, obviously, that goes over the top of this that is actually sitting on site waiting to be erected. So by the time we get together, if we skip next meeting a month from today, this area will be fully enclosed and roofed, and we'll be working on fitting out the inside of it. Not the best picture, but this is in the same area. From a month ago, this area was completely open roof. The CMU walls were still going up. You can see all the beams in place. The decking had just landed when I took this picture on Tuesday. This is the future area of the girls and boys locker room, which is in the nook right between the old black wing and the old gym. So this is the old black wing proper, area B, under renovation. What we've been doing over the last month is mostly MVP overheads. So you can see a substantial amount of ductwork feeds in place. You can see the black piping riser here is the storm piping tie-ins that went to the roof. There's also a horizontal run of storm piping for overflow that goes out horizontally and directly outside. All the fire protection piping in this area is up at this point, and the electricians are also in the area working on all the overhead conduits for future lighting and walls. The mason is also just pushed into this area, as there's demising walls that go between this area and the other areas of the rental section that you can't see at the moment. Jumping over just to orientate you again, so the arrow, this is the future kitchen area, is actually the right picture. So this here is the servery section where you'll come and get your food, and out of the picture to the right is the kitchen. A month ago, we were still finishing the undergrounds and working to re-pour the slabs in place. At this point, the slabs are completely done on both sections, actually all three sections of area C, as well as the roofing is in progress in this area now as well. The left picture, which is the old girls' locker room, is the area of the expanded calf and fitness. It's in a very similar state as the kitchen is, where the roofing has been done. The slabs have been replaced. The mason has been in both these areas over the last couple of weeks, cutting in the new openings as the doorways moved. And there was new lintels that we put in throughout all the masonry. So that's all getting wrapped up. And the MEP crews will be moving to this area next when they come out of that renovation area that I just showed you. So this is a big picture of the old pool, which sits in between the two areas that I was just talking about. So the slab has been placed in this area. All these new cuts, where there'll be overhead doors from the cafeteria to the hallway, have been cut in place. And the old soffit that was above the pool has come down now. We were waiting to take that down until we had the slab in place for access standpoint. The roof over the old pool has been removed. And we're waiting to put it back because we need to cut some new penetrations, and that's a concrete deck above the old pool. And as you'll see, as we talk about the ATPs, there's a change order in this area for some steel work that we've been waiting to get finalized. That'll give us the green light to get that steel in and get the roof going again over the pool, former pool. Same area of the building, just the outside view of it. So kitchen area to your right here, future cafeteria. These will be glass walls when we're said and done, to an outdoor seating area. And then some curtain wall or some storefront glass as well over here is outside the fitness area. It's tough to see in front of you right here close in the ground. That's the grease trap that went in. That'll serve the new kitchen. So piping comes out from the building and goes back in as far as the grease waste, and then runs to the sanitary after the tank. So that's a large underground structure that was a bit to coordinate and get in. But that is complete at this point. So we also had an addition on the other side of the building, right where my cursor is here. That is the MEP, what we call the MEP addition. It will house the new switchgear for the building, as well as a new fire pump. A month ago, we were still working to finish the under slab work, which was a significant amount of conduits to that area. That is done. The slab has been poured. The CMU walls have been built. The trusses have been put in place. The decking has been landed. And we plan on roofing that section starting next week. The switchgear itself and the fire pump are here locally at the contractor shops, and we'll start going in the next month. So that's all progressing well. And the last area we have under construction at the moment is Area F, the blue wing, which is one of the two-story wings of classrooms. This is a good shot of the outside. You can see brick patching work is done. New precast sills are in place. New windows are in place. Obviously, we have caulking to still do at the windows. We have cleanup of the brick to still do from an appearance standpoint, and we have roof edge fascia to do around the perimeter. But we are essentially weather tight again in this wing of the building. This is a typical classroom within that wing. You can see the overhead MEP rough is substantially done. We're in the process of framing the sheetrock soffits to conceal the ductwork runs, conceal the vertical ductwork runs, and then this wall here against the corridor gets a framed bump out of a wall that has a marker board paint that we put on. That'll be a teaching surface as well as some marker boards. What you'll hear, mouse is moving the best. What you hear when we talk about shortly, the clear story glass will go in this area here, and I'm sure Jason has some better views of what it'll look like when we're said and done. I think these are the last two pictures I have. So again, in that same area of the building, the left picture is just standing in the hallway. It gives you a good sense of where the hallway stands. All these are former and future locker bays, and all the overhead roof in the hallway. The right picture is the gang bathroom area. Carriers and plumbing are all in place at this point, and a mason is in the area working on the new walls, and we'll be in there for the next couple of weeks getting those walls in place. That's it. That's the last one. Any questions on progress or on anything going on as it relates to Gilbane here?
All right. Well, as you guys can see, we're moving at a pretty good pace here. We're maintaining our schedule a little bit ahead of our schedule, but we'd like to keep it that way because there's always going to be some unforeseens once we start touching the existing building. So does anybody have any questions for Gilbane? If not, we're going to move on. All right, we're going to move on to the owner's rep, CSG.
So Randy, tonight, and for the rest of the committee, I'd like to introduce Samantha DiAugustino. She's going to be becoming more involved in what we do for CSG on this project, and she is going to give the update tonight.
Hi, everyone. So we just have a couple items to update you guys on. So like Chris said earlier, we got the technology plan approved by the state last week. So hopefully that'll be out to bid, probably early next week. Another thing is we got the FF&E purchase orders, issued last week. And we're going to be tracking the orders and deliveries, in order to get all the FF&E delivered for January for Area F. Last week, we also got a notification from the state that Enfield received a reimbursement of a little over 7.8 million, which is awesome. And we had our first state change order submitted last week, and state change order 2 should be coming by the end of November. So that's just a quick update.
Very good. So as you guys just heard, we're starting to get the reimbursements from the state. A little $7.8 million check was delivered to the state last week or a week and a half ago. So that's great news. And thank you, Sam and Chris, for everything to make this happen. Samantha, welcome to the team. Good to see you more involved. So
Thanks.
anybody have any questions for either Chris or Samantha? All right. We're going to move on to the budget subcommittee.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to go through the ATPs first. Just for the record, the budget subcommittee did convene earlier today and has reviewed all of the ATPs and invoices that will be presented today. And the budget subcommittee has recommended moving these forward to the committee for formal acceptance and processing. Let's start with ATP number 13, additional framing resulting from some coordination for the amount of $23,910.
Second.
Both, yes.
All right. Any comments? Let's see, can you throw the sheet, the ATP legend up on the screen so everybody can see? And then we can discuss a little bit about each of them, please. Thank you, sir. So ATP 13, want to give just a good.
Yeah, sure. So, ATP 13 includes additional framing and soffits throughout Area F and a couple of minor changes in other areas of the building as we work through coordinating the MEP systems with the trades and with JCJ and BBH. There's sometimes adjustments that need to be made to chases and soffits. And some of those soffits that you saw in one of the pictures I showed of interior Area F, they grew in size, if you will, because of MEP. So this is cost for the additional studs and drywall associated with all of that.
So one of the things I just want to bring to some of you, the new players or the new team members here, ATP stands for authorized to proceed. This gives them the approval to go ahead. Sometimes these are estimates, sometimes these are final numbers. But as a committee, we need to. I have signature up to $50,000, but I like to bring it to the committee for approval. But if it's an emergency situation, I could sign off on it and allow them to continue to work and then bring it to the committee for approval. This wasn't an emergency. It's something that takes a series of steps to get done. So this is being brought, but just so we're going to start throwing some acronyms out. ATP stands for authorized to proceed. So do we have a second? We have a second? Or yeah, I think we have a second. So any other questions regarding ATP 13? If not, can I have a show of hands all in favor? Anybody against? Anybody abstain? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve ATP 22. Description is RFI number 255. Is this frames in areas F and G with correcting door swings, the amount of $10,072.
So a little more info on that is when existing frames is the hollow metal door frames. So within areas F and G, the large majority of the demising walls and corridor walls stay in place. The door frames stay in place, but we put new doors and hardware on them. And it swings which way the door operates changed from the original or previous building to the final plan. And some of those needed modifications to make them operate properly. This cost is to, after we verify in the field what is actually there, this cost is to correct those frames accordingly.
Any other discussion? Show of hands, all in favor? Anybody against? Anybody abstain? Thank you.
Make a motion to approve ATP 23, bulletin number 14, classroom clear story changes in the amount of $187,766.
So this one here is, Emily's gonna do a presentation. When we first designed this building, as you all know, inside the existing classrooms, there was glass between the classrooms and the corridor. Initially, we wanted to keep them or try to keep them, but there's an acoustical value calculation that we have to achieve inside the classrooms, and we weren't able to achieve them with this existing system, so we designed a new system to go in. Initially, the initial cost of this to add the glass or keep the glass there with a new type of glass system was about a little over $250,000 just to maintain the glass in the corridor. When we were going out to bid, this was an area that was pulled out to try to save money, again, not knowing where the bids would come in. Now that the bids came in substantially low, the architect re-looked at this to see if there was any additional savings by redesigning the Windows system itself. And Emily's going to show you and go through all that. But initially, it was a 2-pane Windows system, 4 panels. What they're proposing is going with 3 panels and a single 3/4-inch pane, and it brought it down from a little over $250,000 to $187,000. And again, this is still well below the original base bid. This is one of those other items like we've put back into the project. It was originally designed to keep it. So Emily, if you can take control of the screen and do a presentation of what it looks like without it and what it would look like with it, I would recommend that we go with it again.
Absolutely. Okay, everybody can see this?
Yes.
Okay, so here's an image of what the corridors looked like right before it started to go under renovation. So you can see that these corridors, and actually when I walked through for the first time, it was really nice to see all this corridor glass. Even though it had a frost to it, it still allowed some light into the corridors. And these are pretty long corridors in areas F, G, and H, the blue, white, and red wings. I actually did a measurement today, and it's about 168 feet long corridors. So to allow that light to come in is really nice. What we did was we've done some renderings to show you what it would look like without the clear story. So all of that glass area would then be infilled with gypsum board and be painted a neutral color, and would, kind of make the space feel a bit enclosed, a little bit tunnel-like. When we go to the next image, you can see that it really brightens up because now you get all of that natural daylight from the outside through the classrooms and out into the corridor. One thing that we typically do sometimes is have side lights at the doors that allows light without having to have clear stories. We don't have that opportunity here because we're reusing the existing door areas and we can't put in side lights. So really the only way to get some natural daylight, with the exception of at the end of the corridor where we do have the door, which is glass area, would be through these these clear stories, which is nice because it's something that was there now, and then removing it, filling it in will make it feel pretty small in that corridor. This is just a view from the classrooms. As Marcus had said, that this is what, looking at from the classroom out through into the corridor with the glass. There would actually be a slightly less as we would be removing one panel, but the dry erase paint actually sits right below that panel, which is nice. It gives it a nice area to work from. So just pulling together a bit of a side-by-side comparison, just to see, you know, the brightness and the daylight really filtering into that corridor will be a really nice feel for the students as they're, you know, walking to and from class.
I think the other piece of the equation that I think everybody that's been in this school knows is we don't have the luxury of high ceilings in this school like you might in others, just because of the existing structure when this was built. It was a lower structure. Obviously, you got the arteries of the building, the ductwork and sprinkler systems and stuff above the ceiling. So if we didn't have this clear story lighting, it would start to feel more like a tunnel also, where the lighting psychologically tends to open up the area for you. So brings natural light in, but it feels more open and it won't feel as claustrophobic, if you will, for lack of a better word.
So the glass that was currently there, it did let some light in, but it was a frosted glass. So it really didn't let in as much light as this new lighting system is going to, a window system is going to allow it to do. It's almost going to double the amount of light that's coming from the natural light that's coming from the outside through the classroom, because you got clear glass. It's not going to be frosted. So it's really going to make a heck of a difference. And like Bruce said, we're limited on our ceiling height. So it would have, as you can see to the right, it virtually would have looked like a tunnel. And it's not as inviting. And, you know, in my opinion, it's worth the money. And again, it's money that we initially had in the budget. We took out as a safety net, but now we're requesting to put it back in, and it's less than what we initially, like I said, it was a little over 250,000. Now it's 187,000. But what you were achieving is 10 times worth it. So I'm open for questions and anything, suggestions or comments from the committee members or anybody.
I'd just like to verify that the quoted price is for all three wings. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Correct, in both floors, first and second floors.
Yeah. So it's both wings and both floors. So that's quite a bit of glass. So, but they did their due diligence and they worked with the acoustical company and they got the system, the Windows system cheaper, but it achieved the same thing. And one of the luxuries we have by Sprinkler in the entire building is that we don't need to have a rated wall in the corridor side. So typically you'd have to have sheetrock that goes all the way up because you have to maintain a specific rating from the classroom separate from the corridor. But having this building 100% sprinklered, we're able to not have to do that and able to do something like this. So it worked out in our favor in many situations here. So any other comments? Any questions? Anybody in committee? All right, well, we have a second. Anybody have any no more comments? I'd like to, all in favor, show your hands. Show of hands in favor. Anybody against? Anybody abstain? All right, looks like it's a go. Thank you guys very much. Emily, thank you so much for putting this together. It really shows the difference between what could have been and what's gonna be. So,
no problem.
All right, move on to the next one, please, sir.
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve ATP number 25, RFI number 254, Area F, urethane sealant at the Mozzie Walls, $7,844.
Second. So this is to put caulking in the jam location where all the demising walls, which is the walls between each classroom, hit the exterior wall. There was a caulk joint there that was removed for environmental purposes. It was a PCB caulk joint that had to come out. And this is to put caulking back in that joint before we paint to make it look bright.
And this is going to be repeated for each of the wings, correct?
Correct. So this cost is just for area F, and as we go through each phase or each area, we'll have additional costs. And future ATPs on the same topic, just different areas.
Any comments? Show of hands, all in favor? Anybody against? Anybody abstain? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve ATP 26, bulletin number 15, added RTU support steel at the cafeteria. And just for those, RTU means rooftop units, so something that's sitting up on top of the roof. The cost value is $23,562.
Second. So this is for additional structural steel because the unit grew in size. So once the unit grew in size, it had to go back to the design team structurally to look at the loads it imposed, look at the snow drift that it imposed. We had to add a large beam across the old pool, and then two smaller beams to support the unit that were not planned for originally.
Any discussion? Show of hands, all in favor? Anybody against? Anybody abstain?
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve ATP 28, description of PB05A structural steel buyout savings. This is a credit of $360,823. Second.
So this one's a good one you want to talk about.
So when we put together our GMP to start the project after all the bids came in, we were not comfortable at that point awarding the current low bidder of the steel package. So we carried in our GMP to the town our original estimate. And as we worked through and fine-tuned and got comfortable with the low bidder, we ended up awarding them the job. And this is the delta from their bid to what we had in our original estimate. That is now savings that we're giving back to the town.
Any comments? This is a good one. All in favor, show of hands. Anybody abstain? Anybody against? Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve ATP number 29, RFI number 267, patching behind visual display boards in area F, $11,587.
Second. So this is another one as a result of environmental issues. All the tack boards or whiteboards in area F were shown to come down. They were all held down by glue dabs. Once the boards were down, it was discovered that the glue dabs were hot for ACM. So when there's ACM in the glue dab, it holds onto the wall a lot better. So taking those off, and we actually had to grind or chip into the CMU walls to get them off. And this cost here is for the repair of that CMU wall, the parging of those chips at roughly 20, 25 locations per board, throughout the wing of that. So this is a similar one that we'll revisit as we go through each area that had significant whiteboards from classrooms.
Any questions? All right, show of hands, all in favor? Anybody against? Anybody abstain? Great, thank you very much.
Okay, that concludes the ATPs. We'll move on to the invoices. The first invoice is for Gilbane Building Company, application number 13 for the period ending October 31st, 2020. The amount is $3,750,011.77.
Second.
Any discussion? Show of hands, all in favor?
Mr. Chairman, just for clarification so the full team understands, can I show them this is a small to medium size invoice from Gilbane that's printed double-sided. The full document is 400 and how many pages long? 418 pages long. It's available for review if anybody wants to read it. I suggest putting it under your pillow at night. It makes for great reading.
All right, any questions? Show of hands, all in favor? Anybody against? Anybody abstain? Thank you.
Also for Gilbane, we had a rate amendment for construction staffing to add a project engineer PE1 for an hourly rate of $67. This is a position that was not listed in the original contract, so it's adding it just to make sure that when it's billed against that, it's properly seen in the contract.
Second.
You want to explain what it is?
So we,
And it's not an additional fee.
correct, so it's not an additional cost. So all of our employees on site have a given billing rate that we have contractually with the town of Enfield. We have a new hire that we brought on here at our entry level from our engineering staff. That billing rate was not included in the breakdowns previously in the GMP or the contract. So this is just a clarification so we can bill appropriately and utilize its funds that were already planned for the project.
So there's no additional cost, we just got to put an amendment to the contract. So at some point, they're going to see billing against a PE1, and if there's no PE1 in the contract, it can't be doing done. So that's all this is. Any other questions? Show of hands, all in favor? Anybody against? Anybody abstain?
The final invoice is for Construction Solutions Group, invoice number 10, dated November 3rd, 2020, for the amount of $29,689.86.
Second.
Any discussion? Show of hands, all in favor? Anybody against? Anybody abstain?
That concludes all of the ATPs and invoices, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we're gonna move on to old business. We don't have anything on the agenda under old business and new business. Anybody want to bring anything up under new business? All right, we're gonna move on to our communications subcommittee. Caitlin, my
Yeah, nothing really new to update. Just put some new posts out the other day. Marcus, can you email me over that slideshow when you get a chance? And Emily, can you send that what we just voted on and approved, the glass in the hallways?
Sure, yeah, I'll send you the presentation. Is a PDF okay?
You can send it in the PowerPoint. I'm able to take the photos right out of there easier.
It's actually done in InDesign.
Then if you have them in a JPEG, it'd be easier. I have to convert everything over to JPEG
Okay.
to put it up on Facebook. But
JPEG. Okay, I'll get it over to you.
All right, thanks. That's it. That's Caitlin. You have anything?
Excellent. You guys are doing a great job keeping the public informed. You know, unfortunately, we can't do public walkthrough or anything, so this is second best. And I've been getting a lot of comments and texts and emails and stuff saying they really appreciate being able to see where their children will be going and their tax dollars going to. So good job, you guys. Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments for the communication subcommittee?
Mr. Chairman, with regards to the schedule for the next meeting, we are scheduled to meet for November 19th, 2020. I recommend make a motion that we keep that date, and if it's not necessary, we can cancel at the last minute.
Yeah, I agree. Any discussion? Okay, we'll keep it then. We don't have to make a motion or anything. We're scheduled first and thirds.
Okay.
Committee comments. Start with the liaisons. Any comments, questions?
Nope, all set, thanks.
Great job as always, guys. Thank you very much.
It looks great. You guys are doing a great job.
Great. We appreciate it. Thank you. Committee members, any committee comments? Anybody have any good to the order? Any happy news? Anything good, they positive they want to pass out or share? Boy.
Any good Halloween costumes?
Yeah. All right.
Hey,
well,
Randy,
Yes, ma'am.
We didn't do a moment of silence at the beginning of the meeting, but this morning Enfield actually lost a teacher. And I think it might be important to recognize that and do a moment of silence, if you don't mind. I know it's the complete opposite of good to the order. But, yeah, Lisa Dupuis, she was a kindergarten teacher at Hazardville Memorial School.
Oh, goodness. Absolutely. Yes.
She lost her battle to cancer this morning. So thank you.
Very sorry. Thank you very much for bringing that up. All right. Anybody have anything else?
Mr. Chairman, motion to adjourn.
Second's heard. We have a show of hands, all in favor. Anybody against? Anybody abstain? Great. Thank you guys very much for taking the time. I know this takes a lot of effort to be part of this, but you guys are troopers and we're making it all happen. So thank you, liaisons, and thank you, committee members.
Bye, guys.